Guys, we're going to go through, let's talk running back Kenyon Drake. He's with the Raiders now. Got to get that sorted before the season starts. And he wants to add some versatility to Vegas's backfield. Guys, there, of course, Josh Jacobs is there. Drake told reporters this week he feels like he, quote, might have a big role in this offense. Which player do you think will have a surprisingly big role on their team in 2021? Traeger, don't let me down.
No, and Kay, we wouldn't be doing our show in the middle of July and being at 7 a.m. if I'm not going to talk about Anthony Firkser, the tight end for the Tennessee Titans. It's natural. I'm going Firkser. That's my guy. I've been talking Firkser up since Jonnu Smith signed with the New England Patriots, and I think it only gets even bigger for Anthony Firkser, the starting tight end for the Tennessee Titans now that Julio Jones has joined the squad. We say it with a smile because this is not a household name. This is not a guy that everybody outside of Tennessee has ever heard of. And yet I think he's got a huge role in Todd Downing's offense this year for the Tennessee Titans. The amount of bodies that are going to be committed to A.J. Brown and Julio Jones on the outside leaves a great void over the middle for a player that has done a lot with very little ball attention in that offense in the past because of Jonnu Smith's presence there. So you stack the box with Derrick Henry. You got two of the best wide receivers out wide. Okay, what happens if you try to cover all those guys? Firkser is going to be running wild. I am biased towards Firkser. He is from the Jersey Shore. He grew up in Manalapan, New Jersey. He went to Harvard. I did not. And now he is an NFL player, which I am not. But Anthony Firkser is going to put up big numbers in the Tennessee Titans offense. Jonnu Smith's no longer there, and there's a lot more guys that there's going to be attention to on the outside.
No doubt about it. Shout out to Anthony Firkser. Shout out to Todd Downing, who was my former coach, and Tim Fleming, who was Anthony Firkser's high school coach and my former teammate. 6 degrees of separation. We're like family. So I'm glad that you're talking about Anthony Firkser this morning, Peter Schrager. For me, I'm going with a San Francisco 49ers player. And I know you're thinking to yourself, maybe he's going to say one of the superstars. No, I'm going to talk about a guy who hasn't even stepped on the field yet. How about the 3rd overall pick, Trey Lance? Yeah, I'm going with the young fella. You don't go and get Trey Lance, number 3 overall, if he's not going to have some type of impact on your squad. Forget about his college stats. Forget about the full season that he had when he played and he was 17-0 and he didn't throw an interception after so many attempts. I can care less because that was literally years ago. I'm talking about the impact he's going to make on his squad right now. He's either going to start week 1 and Jimmy Garoppolo will never see the field again, and we will see the new Trey Lance era begin underneath Kyle Shanahan, or the pressure from Trey Lance being on the roster, being selected 3rd overall, will show us the best Jimmy G that we have ever seen. Maybe even the healthiest Jimmy G that we have ever seen. You know, that ankle sprain or that slight injury, that bump and bruise that might hold you out for a week or two. Maybe Jimmy G toughs it out and says, you know what, I need to be on the field because I got a guy sitting behind me that's ready to take over the reins. Jimmy G only completed and finished 3 games last season. 3 games in 2020. Now, I know he's banged up. I'm not holding that against him because you can't control that. But the fact that he only played 3 games last season, along with a ton of other guys that were injured for the 49ers, that's a big deal. So Trey Lance is going to have an impact whether he plays or not.
Okay, so let's see if in the 7 o'clock hour, fresh off of vacation brain, I can make this segue. But we love talking about rookie quarterbacks. Trey Lance, we all know that there is no rookie quarterback that I am more bullish on than Justin Fields in Chicago. But I will say, as much as everybody feels that Justin Fields is the man, Kay, I think it's Andy Dalton that's going to actually have a surprisingly big role. Yeah, I feel as if no matter what the Bears say, they sit here and they say they're going to start with Andy Dalton. Most of the NFL world has written him off and said, no, Justin Fields is going to take this job. Well, here, let me tell you this. Andy Dalton, his first 5 years in the NFL, took the Cincinnati Bengals to the playoffs. Andy Dalton, incredibly efficient and effective if you're not asking too much of him. I don't think the Bears will ask too much of him. And then, of course, his offensive coordinator is Bill Lazor, a man that he is very familiar with, a man that he worked with in Cincinnati, a man whom under, is it whom or who? Who under, whatever it is, under Bill Lazor, Andy Dalton put together some of his best, most productive seasons, went to the Pro Bowl. I feel like the Bears really are truly committed to the seasoning of Justin Fields. We've already seen Dalton and Fields work together so well, and I think Dalton has a lot to prove. So really, this Bears defense is tremendous. Not too much is being asked of Dalton. I think you're going to get so much more out of him than anybody realizes. And that's why he's my surprisingly impactful player. Did I make that circle? I don't know. My brain still feels like
you did.
vacation
Well
lunch.
done. Well done.
There's a lot of Chicago fans going, ooh, like big role metaphorically, like inspiring Justin Fields when he's the starter week 1, giving him like a good like rah-rah speech in Chicago. But let us know at GMFB. Guys, I love Aaron Jones, Packers running back. You love him. He's been on our show several times. And I love him even more now because he went up against Goliath. He raced Tyreek Hill. I missed this. Guys, this is last week. It was a camp appearance. Tyreek Hill, of course, smoked him. He easily beat the Packers running back. DK Metcalf chimed in, tweeting at Hill, "Get at me next offseason." I want to know, Peter, if you could pick any NFL player in their prime, who would you want to see face off against Tyreek Hill in a race? Because Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, I just didn't see that coming.
No, and Tyreek is a burner, but I'll give you another one. Chris Johnson, the old running back from the Tennessee Titans, he ran a 4.24 in the 40 at the combine, was then the record. And I just think back at in-game action, it was doing stuff that was not without pads. This is a run that goes for 94 yards that safeties are chasing him when he was with the Titans. This is 2012, years after his Offensive Player of the Year season. Chris Johnson was a blaze, and he came on our show a couple of years ago when we were talking about John Ross's 40-yard dash, and he kind of gave us a little wink and a nod and said, yeah, let's see what the hand-timed 40s really were saying there that day. That might have been something to I don't know, maybe gin up a little ratings for the NFL Network. And speaking of ratings for the NFL Network, Aditi, I just got a text from 13 different bosses saying, please talk more Justin Fields and less Andy Dalton here in July. Please, for all of us. Thank you.
All right, I'll jump right in. I'm going with the guy who is known as one of the fastest athletes ever, Darrell Green.
Ooh.
Now, if you're not familiar with him, he pumped fear in wide receivers because he could bait you into running a fade route. And as soon as that ball was in the air, he would do what he's doing right now on the screen, pick that thing off and take it to the crib. He's had some legendary moments on the field. I mean, forget about these interceptions. I don't know if you guys ever seen him run down Tony Dorsett, who at the time, Tony Dorsett was known as the fastest running back. Once he got past you, you weren't going to catch him. Oh, Darrell Green had a different idea on that. Listen, when he was 50, I remember him tweeting out saying, I just celebrated my 50th birthday by running a 40, and I believe it was like a 4.43 or something like that. Recently, he said at 60, I could run a 4.5. I remember running into him during the Hall of Fame parade, and he was telling me, no, Nate, legitimately, I could run a 4.5 right now. Darrell Green, at one time, they said that his 40 time was 4.09. Just think about that for a second. 4.09. There's rumors floating around that he could run sub 4. I know that's ridiculous, but the fact that he has this type of legend around his name just shows you how fast he runs. You ask the fastest guys who ever played the game, Deion Sanders included, they will tell you that Darrell Green was the fastest. And that right there is a good race to see, Darrell Green versus Tyreek Hill.
Okay, they said 4.09, but you know, a lot more people said 4.12 for Bo Jackson. And so my pick is Bo Jackson because I can't think of a single thing that I have not seen Bo Jackson do. It kind of doesn't matter, and maybe arguably one of the single most competitive athletes I've ever been around, that I've ever seen. And so I just like to see that happen. And I wish that I had something more eloquent to add to it, guys, but really just watch him. And we talk about Chris Johnson's 94-yard run. What about Bo Jackson's 91-yard touchdown run, where he probably kept going halfway across the planet until somebody stopped him? So really, I would love to see that one, since we're just talking about the hypothetical.
I like that one.
I don't even have to say anything, Aditi. We are eating up this footage. That is incredible. Okay, last one. Over the weekend, Saturday night, UFC, Big fight, Conor McGregor, a little gruesome injury for him, but it wasn't all about the fighters. We, of course, always look at the celebrities that are there in Vegas watching and taking it in. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker and Dave Chappelle was there, David Spade was there, everybody was there. I want to know, Kit Harington, our very own Baker Mayfield also in the house. I want to know, who would be your ideal celebrity to sit next to at any sporting event? I'd like to know the person and the sporting event, Shrakes.
The sporting event. Well, that Thursday night, it was Chappelle, Tom Segura, and Joe Rogan. They sold out the MGM Grand, and everyone came in for that, this giant concert. And then you have the UFC. And so everyone and everybody from all different worlds is in Vegas. But I didn't see my man Sandler. I'm going Adam Sandler. And Kay, I'll take an NBA game courtside with Sandler, just like Kevin Garnett got to in that photograph. I'm always going Sandler. I just want 3 hours of Adam Sandler time, and I will watch anything involving Adam Sandler. I'm talking about the Zohan, right down to Little Nicky, right down to whatever else you got. Sandman, that's who my partner is. Let's go.
Sandman. Shout out to the Sandman. For me, I'll go with Mike Tyson. Just give me Mike Tyson at any sporting event. We can do basketball, football, baseball, but that's boring. I want like boxing or MMA, you know what I'm saying? I want something physical. Just sitting next to Iron Mike Tyson, him just whispering in your ear. He's like, his defense is impregnable. His style is ferocious. I want that Mike Tyson, you know what I'm saying? And him telling me stories about Mike back in the day. I actually got to talk to Mike Tyson, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life, so I would go with Iron Mike Tyson.
Okay, so I feel like if I sat next to Adam Sandler, I'd certainly laugh for 3 hours straight. But for me, I would want to be smarter. And Howard Cosell, to me, is the man who does that. He changed sports broadcasting. Obviously, he was an attorney and true intellectual, looked at every game, no matter what it was, baseball, football, basketball, differently than anybody before him. And I'd love to have that running commentary, guys. Just see the way that he sees the game, hear the way that he analyzes the game.
DD King and
It's such